Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was just a few minutes ago. It's a brr. It's cold out there, but that's why I'm in here doing this video. It's too cold to do a video. So anyway, I'm here reaching out to all of you. I hope you're being kind to yourself and know that you are worthy enough for whatever it is that you desire in your reality. Hang on, Starlight's gotta get some air in here because gotta get my key. So yeah, so if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy, swing by and say hi to Starlight by leaving Starlight a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A unicorn and a dinosaur. Also, you could check out my playlist, and you could check out my Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, if you would love to send a love donation to Starlight, you can do that. And I have a Cash App, and I will put that information here. Ping! There it is. And all you got to do is download the app, and that way you could send money from your debit card or credit card to the app, and then it will go to Starlight. So thank you for those who have done that already in the past. And also, big, huge thank you to all of you who have been here subscribing to my YouTube channel, giving me a thumbs up, leaving me a comment, or even sharing. Thank you for those who out there are sharing my videos, giving me a thumbs up, or leaving me a message. I appreciate all of you. And today is about don't be fooled. You know, we are coming into some crazy ass times right now. So with AI and artificial intelligence and stuff like that, don't be fooled. And because a lot of things are going to be happening, you know, coming up, you know, so I'm not going to say when, but you got to really be careful what you believe out there, you know, when it comes to the news, you know, when you watch a YouTube video or anything, even if you go outside, you know, how would you know if something's real or fake out there, you know? What if you one day you went outside and you're like, "Wow, what the heck? I'm looking at something right now and it's moving." But what if you're like, that's a UFO. Wow. Holy shit. Wouldn't you about shit your pants? Wouldn't you be running to grab your camera like Starlight would be doing? I'd be like, where's my camera? I've had so many dreams like this where I did see something shocking, you know, in my dream. And I did actually have something shocking in a dream last night, you know, so this is pretty much why, but there's other reasons why I'm making this video is because, you know, I have seen stuff in my past. It was awesome. And I wasn't on any drugs. So I have witnessed things in my life, like in the Bible times, you know, some crazy ass stuff, you know, and if you go around telling people, they'll think, what were you on? Starlight, what kind of drugs were you on? You know, so you got to really be careful what you think is real. You know, there could be something outside that you think it's real, but it's like a Holocaust. I think that's what, maybe I'm trying to think of the name, but it looks real when you look at it. Even if you went around the whole, I gotta see if I got something. I just ate my banana, so I can't say, but I don't have anything crazy and wild in here to look at, but you know, it's kind of silly. I'm just gonna grab this, but it's just because it's really colorful, like this. You know, it looks real, right? But what if you was able to stick your hand right through it, you know, just like, so you could think that it's real. But if you touched it, you know, and it's kind of funny because this reality that you think is real, it's an illusion. But, you know, some of you like, Yeah, right, Starlight. Like, this is an illusion. I'm touching my thing and on my, you know, like this can of my instant coffee. You think that, you know, I'm touching it, I feel it, I hear it, you know. This is real, Starlight. I can hear it. But what would be the difference if you're into a video game like the metaverse? Because I talked to somebody that went into the metaverse, you know, and I don't want you to get, please don't go into the metaverse, you know, is because whoops, sorry about this. What happens, people get in there, and I know all of us could be guilty of doing this, you know. Hey, yeah, let's check out this metaverse. And I've watched movies a long time ago, and it's creepy, but we're coming into those days now, you know. And you really gotta really not believe everything you see or even what you hear. You know, you could see something. Imagine you see something outside one day and you think it's absolutely real, but you can't touch it. So you know, and you could be afraid of it, you know, just like a dream, you know. You know, isn't it funny? I've had like some crazy ass dreams lately. Really awesome stuff. So I can mention them now because they're, you know, I already had these dreams. But if I, you know, I could do artwork and do this, but you got to remember what the image looks like. And sometimes those images fade away, but I do remember, oh, wow, that was really freaking cool, you know. And that's how a lot of artwork gets created, is because there's artists that go to sleep and bam, they have the coolest ass, you know, dream. And they were able to capture that image, you know, in their headspace. And I've done this myself where I was able to draw a UFO exactly, you know, or even I call them aliens, but they really were, you know, to me, they're really human beings, but they were evolved way more, you know, they've been here many times. They had to come back here so many times, and they're just highly evolved, but they look like people. But, you know, they could walk through walls. Why do you think they could walk through walls? These, um, my beautiful aliens that they really changed my life around in 1995 is when they, you know, I've been connected with these my whole life, these beings out there, but they look like humans. They could go right through a wall. Why could they go through a wall? Because the wall is not there. The wall is not there. That's why they were able to go through it. They know this well enough. They've been here so many times. This is what I believe, that they've been here so many times that, you know, that they just, now, if you try to, you know, like, Men Who Laugh at, Goats, I think that's what it was called. But that movie got me so cracking up the first time I watched it, because there was a man that was actually, using moat reviewing and all this stuff, and doing all these different crazy things in that movie. But there was a guy in one of the parts of the movie that he was really trying to get his brain to, he knew that the wall wasn't there, but he was really just, you know, trying to break that down, because we've been programmed that the wall is there, you know. We've been programmed to believe that what you see, you know, in your reality is real, but it's really not as real as you think. And so you're going to see all kinds of stuff coming up. Who knows what time, what year, you know, and you're going to see stuff on the news, you know, and it's going to look believable, you know, it's going to look real, you know. And I'm learning about how to do stuff with my video and editing it, and I'm having a blast doing this, learning how to do things, you know. And but these people, they've been doing this for a long time, you know. So you can have something that's in front of you that looks real, like a UFO, you know, say if you couldn't touch it, you know, and say if it was low enough, some of you might have been running, you know, once you've seen the UFO. Starlight be like, hey, I got to go and meet these people, you know, these aliens out here, see, you know, see what's up, you know, are you going to take me off of planet Earth here or what? You know, I've been waiting all my life. And you really got to be careful of what you think is real. Outside, you know, you're going to see somebody's going to have like a viral video, maybe, you know, of something that, you know, they actually saw, or did they see it? Is an illusion, just like, you know, like my cinnamon. You can. Long time ago, I did watch a movie and it was so super cool. I wish I could remember it, but they put these goggles on their head, and they, just like in the Matrix movie, or not movie, but the documentary, is that he had a headset on his head, and then he went in, and he was with what's his name? I gotta think of the guy's name. But anyway, he's with this man, Morpheus. He's with Morpheus. And there was a TV. It looked like a TV there. But see, they put that headset on, and it really brought them to that TV really did not exist. Even though his eyes, see, your eyes deceive you, causing you to cause you to think that it's real. But it was an illusion. It's an illusion. Really, nobody really knows really what we're living in, here on planet Earth. Is there even a planet? You got to really question everything. I even question, is there really a sun? Is that sun even real? Or is that a part of the illusion? Is planet Earth, these are just questions you got to ask yourself. Is planet Earth real? Now, the Bible does say that there's new Earths and new moons and all that stuff. So, but God created all that stuff. But how do you know what is really real? And then they created everything else that came from planet Earth, the soil and all this stuff, and animals, all these things that they made from the ground, so what is real? You don't want to be fooled. And so you got to be careful. There's going to be people that could tell you something, and it could put fear in your life, and it could cause you to do something crazy because it would creep you out and really like, ah. So last night I had a dream, and it is something because the dream looked real. But you know what? Something was up in the sky, and it almost knocked somebody in the head. And I was like, oh no. It looked like it was going to knock him in the head, but it went right through his head because the object was not real. Even though with a human eye, even though that was a dream, this is not really any difference. We're not really, this is kind of funny. This, when you're awake, how do you know if you're in a dream or if you're in real reality? What is reality? I've always questioned, like, are we really out here like this? Are we really out here, physically out here? This is just an illusion too. Your body, this is just a shell, but your eyes deceive you thinking that, that this is all real. And like the movie that I watched a long time ago, like I was talking about, The Matrix, where the TV wasn't real, that you got to be really careful because there's a force out there. They want your soul. They want you to give your soul over to them. And that's what, we are in a spiritual battle. And that's what this is about. It's a spiritual battle. And even though good and bad is not, evil and good, we are having war within ourselves. And that's why it's so important, not get all wrapped up in looking at people on the outwardness. There's a lot of people out there that they could be a woman of color or a white person where they want to go with a different race color, or whatever, thinking that, hey, if I can go with that kind of race and that person there, my whole life will be better. You're wrong. You're wrong. It's not about the outside. It's about what's going on inside. So don't be fooled by even, a person on what they look like on the outside. Don't be fooled even with titles that people have, What's your title? I used to call myself, I'm a business owner. It made me feel good because I was a business owner. I'm a cleaner. What else are you? I'm a mom. What else? I'm a sister. What else? I'm an artist. I'm a dancer. I'm a singer. I'm a misfit. I'm many things. We are all many things. Just because somebody has a title, I'm a police officer. Yeah? So you're a police officer. I'm a veteran. Yeah? Ooh, I know. People are getting upset with me. Don't go by the titles. So what if somebody's a police officer? So what if somebody's a doctor? What if somebody's a lawyer? What if somebody's a homeless person? What if somebody is a worker at McDonald's or Burger King? What if somebody goes around and cleans up dog shit for a living? What if somebody goes out and picks garbage up? Titles. That's all they are. You got to look deeper than that. And with this reality, you got to look deeper, get a closer look. There's a lot of people that, they want to go with a different race, thinking my life, if I just can get with that person there, somebody that's got a different skin color, I'll be happy. You know what? And that's not gonna, you got to really get to know that person inside first, then out, like I did. And so you got to really be careful not to get fooled out there. There's so many things out there, and don't be fooled by people's expressions on their faces. This happens to me so many times. I'm like, no matter what this, God is so amazing. How God made the body and how many emotions and, expressions that we can have on our face and our, and even the body language. So don't be fooled by this, because it's all an illusion. Somebody could make you think that they're telling you the truth, but they've been programmed and they practice this for years to look you right in the face, and everything that they said was a freaking lie. Don't be fooled by people's expressions. We all go through this. You can go out in public and have a great day, and this has happened to me, have a great day, and then bam, somebody out in public is giving you a dirty look. And you think that it's all about you. Did you do anything to that person? No, I didn't freaking do shit. I said hello. I've actually have said hello to a person before at a food pantry, not a food pantry, but a soup kitchen, where I go and take a shower. Sat right across from a man. I said hello. I don't want to talk. Was it anything I did? No, it's nothing that I had. It's nothing. So don't be fooled by all this stuff. Is that person's going through shit. It had nothing to do with me. So be careful of how you think that somebody's got beef with you just because their emotions and expressions on their face. So be careful that you don't fall for all this and thinking, oh, so now I'm not going to talk. I've seen this over and over again. It's sad. The day that I got my tires fixed, there was a man that was sitting, and I wanted to say hi, but he looked mean and, angry about something. So I'm like, I better not, I sat next to that guy. I had a table in between us. You know what? We had a great chat. So a lot of times we end up thinking that people have a problem with us out in public because maybe our skin color or the way you look or, way you dress. It's all an illusion. Don't fucking don't fall for any of that stuff. Stop looking, God doesn't look at us by what we look like on the outside. God looks what's going on inside. So you might be, a person of a certain color wanting to get with a different kind of race. Be careful with that. You might get everything that you want and find out the person that you went with is she's a bitch. He's an asshole. And you're like, yeah, this happens even with people that want to change, go with the same sex. They think, like if I am a woman. So if I said, forget men, I'm going to start going with women. That's going to make my whole life go better now. No, she lied to me. She cheated on me. And Starlight never went out with any woman. But don't go fall for all this stuff. You know, this is what they want us to do, is fall for the outwardness, and be careful what you think you see out there. You know, you could see all kinds of stuff, you know, coming up, you know, so don't believe everything you see. And that goes with all these things. And just because somebody's got a title that says I'm a lawyer, who is the person? I'm a police officer. Who is he? What else is he? I'm a veteran. Yeah? You know, it doesn't mean because they're a veteran or a military man or a police officer or a judge or a doctor, it doesn't mean that they're beautiful people on the inside. I know. I talk about stuff most people don't bring up, and sometimes it gets me in trouble. And that's why you can't judge me on me just being a messenger. People get offended by what I say without even getting to know me one bit. So be careful of, the outside. Find out who these people are in the inside. Spend some time with them. If you think you've seen something floating around in the sky, believe me, be careful with this. It might not even be real. If it was close enough to the earth, you might be able to put your hand right through it. Because I'll tell you what, that's the kind of dream I had last night. I was like, wow, the thing that was flying around and I thought it was going to hit the guy in the head, it went right through the guy's head. Because it wasn't even real. So be careful out there what you believe and even what people tell you. God's going to test us out all the time. We're being tested, whether you like it or not, and there's nothing you can do about it. So just because somebody runs to you and tells you some kind of information, question it. Question it. Where did this person get this information? Is this information correct or not? You gotta, and you can't even trust Google. How do you think all this, where do you think Google comes from? Who controls Google? Who controls all this stuff? The Facebook, and we use all these things out here, but these are the ones that are running the world. The certain news out there, they're the ones that are running, that's how this news is being made and stuff like that. And it's people that are running the world. They know how to control people and, with their emotions and all this stuff by getting you scared about stuff. So you really got to question everything. I love you so much. So be careful what you believe out there. Don't fall for this stuff, is to, just because somebody's got a title, just because they're a certain color of skin, you got to slow down and get to know people, and don't judge somebody just because you watch one video and they offended you, you really got to find out more about those people. And I love you so much. And this is Starlight. You could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family or friends. A dragon. And, let me see. I'm just trying to think of some. And an alien. Yes, we can't leave the aliens out of this. So, yes, you could share it with a dragon or an alien. And also, you could check out my playlist. And that is on my YouTube channel. And you can check out my Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that's Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. So, I love you all. Be careful out there. Don't fall for this. I think that was don't be fooled. Don't be fooled about these things out there. We're going to be tested. Be careful what you believe with the news people. Is it really the President of the United States talking these days? How are we really going to know who is who anymore? And I don't want to put fear out here, but be mindful and not to trust everything out there, because we're going through some stuff, and it's who knows when all this stuff is going to hit. So I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.